All right, so we're recording now. So if you go through here on Discord and you're not too sure where to go, resources and tools, scroll up and it's a screenshot that looks kind of like a white screen. So past all these bot commands, you'll see, or black screen, sorry. So these are all, which I'm going to go show you how to add them and all that right now. But if you ever need to look at them again to match them up, they're here in resources and tools. So let's go over here to Thinkorswim. Now to get to that, for those of y'all who are confused, so pretty much my screen layout, I have 10K option hustle, which that invite link for that to install that on your Thinkorswim is in resources and tools as well. So let's see here. Okay, so we go over here to studies, edit studies, and it pulls up that screen I screenshotted for y'all that I use. So let's see here. So you can see, which I'm just going to go through these that way everyone can see the recording and if they want to have it exactly the way I have it. So there's my VWAP. The color is purple on the screen, so that way y'all know. Red for my displaced EMA. My MAE is green. And SMA is teal. Then I have TTM squeeze, which I've stressed you all, paired with MACD and RSI on my bottom indicators. And of course, volume I have showing on the chart. So let's see here. Let's see. So this is Tesla at close. So I hope some of y'all got into that Tesla spread I put, which of course you can get naked calls if you'd like. You know, more risk, but also more profit. We made 40% already on this Tesla swing on just the spread, which we rolled. So we took that 30% profit and rolled it out to a later date for the inclusion on the 21st, I believe is the date, which I think we rolled it out to January 15th. So let's see here. Let's go out a little bit and just take a different look at it. So it's just constantly been grinding upwards. Which of course, if we go, you know, if we go out further and look at it, it's going to say it's pretty overextended. Although even with this sell volume, so you see right here, this MACD is on the red bar, as well as TTM squeeze in the negative down here. You know, we're still seeing new highs. So that's really good indicators of it being bullish, as well as the RSI. You know, that RSI has got a huge dip there, and it's still, you know, touching 575 here at this point. Actually 563 right there at its lowest point. So those are really good signs of it becoming bullish, which that was also because right here is when they announced it, which we were lucky enough. When I made the Tesla call that night, they announced it and it jumped 20 points. So for those of y'all who got in on that with me, we made some pretty good gains from that. Hold on, I had someone just saw something about the invite link. Okay, let's see here. All right, is there anyone here who wanted to ask any specific questions? They needed help with charting. Do you want me to just go over a couple of things that I look for when I get into charting? You know, if I'm looking to take a position, we can go ahead and just start with that. So we'll go with a 1 day, 5 minute. So here are my indicators, and this is what I was telling y'all, kind of acts as like a you know, a bottom and a top fib line with the displaced EMA and SMA, and that's actually displaced VWAP down here on the yellow. So you can see they kind of, you know, go with the chart as it moves. So they take a dip down here and it's a reactive resistant point rather than just a fixed one for the volatile market we're in right now. So we can see here. So this is what really catches my eye once we start to go and open. That was a bear trap. Let's zoom in here. Let's see. Look at this channel. Okay. Actually, that's a little too much. All right. So what catches my eye here? Obviously, we have this downward trend. It's too wide. Let's do this. So it's on this downward trend right here, right? So we have this downward channel. Okay, and we see it breaks this VWAP. So then we have this larger candle right here. You notice that, and then that one green empty candle pretty much right there is kind of a bullish indicator. Then we kind of see that bearish fake out indicator with the red empty candle. And then we see this huge green spike up. So usually when we see a larger green candle like that and it breaks above, that's a pretty good indicator of it staying above. Because then you see people, everyone hops on here and they see that it's bullish now, so everyone starts to buy back in. So then we see it sell off in this candle, go back up, and then kind of double bottoms on that VWAP, and then again on that next candle. So we have three of it, not rejecting the VWAP, but rather the opposite. So it shows really bullish sign. Once people see that, they start to increase that buying pressure. So now we have this upward trend forming here. And then, Tesla is crazy. So as soon as it breaks, it breaks down, fakes a lot of people out, and then it continues upward. Of course, it's still above this VWAP, so it's still very bullish. And then going into close, we have a lot of that buying volume, which is going to be really good for us. Now let's see if we can. So what I see here is this wedge. So if we were to indicate this wedge, which of course, as soon as we see this candle right here, we can very easily draw it from this red one. So we just draw that right there. That's ugly. All right. So we see here, that's which we have that downward pressure and upward pressure, which pretty much creates this buying pressure, this wedge here, where it kind of determines where the stock's going to go. As soon as it starts to squeeze, which it doesn't necessarily have to be at this point. As soon as we see that break above, we know more's coming. Obviously could break down and go down, but we see that large green candle here. That indicates, from that red candle going into this candle, that indicates we're going to see a lot more green. So as soon as it breaks up, we have this breakout all the way up here, which creates that. So that's just one of the many ways that charting can really help you. Obviously, if we charted that, we'd see which we are in a long position. So with how many shares I'm holding, which a lot of y'all should be in your long term, and that spread, it's not good to just put all your money in one spot. So that's why I didn't really call a day trade on that Tesla play. But we are going to make a lot of money just from swinging that spread, or that's why I got into a spread, just because of how much theta burn there is from swinging Tesla. So that's why the spread was the safer bet on that, which we just did a vertical debit spread. So let's see. Also, kind of here we see that downward trend underneath the VWAP, breaks above, obviously, and then it fakes us out and continues downward. So just like those kinds of things, I just spotted out of the corner of my eye. Is there anyone on here that wants me to take a look at a stock, or there's something that they want me to help understand, or any kind of other charting tools I can go over for them?
Hey, Romero, just a quick question. I just want to ask, so for all these indicators, the MACD, TTM squeeze, do you use the default values?
On the so like right here that I'm pointing at, the close
Yeah.
21.
Yeah.
No, so I changed them a little bit, I think. I can't remember what the default values are, but they're all here, so you can change it to what I use right there. But you can see, I mean, if you look at the chart, let's zoom out here. You can see how well TTM squeeze when you pair it with MACD and RSI, how well it indicates where that stock's moving, you know. So the way I have it is obviously a neutral candle should be, if it's going up, if it's above that 0 line, it should be going up, correct? And if it's going down, it should be a negative move. If it's under the VWAP and it's neutral, then obviously the neutral move would be that it goes down, and then the green is indicating that it's downward and still rising. So you can see here where we're under the VWAP, you know, it's under this 0 line. As soon as we see, which that small line there indicates that it's probably going to break over pretty soon. With Tesla, since it has volume, you know, a lot of stocks will just have a bunch of little candles. But as soon as we see that, you know, these large sell-off candles building up to it, which even right here, when you see these three that start to slowly go up, then that kind of indicates that we're kind of on a bullish pattern there, even though it's underneath the VWAP. So it gives you an upper hand pretty much. So as soon as we cross over there, we start to see, you know, Tesla rise a good bit, which that rises what, 4 or 5 points at that point. And then as soon as we see that red candle downward, boom, it starts to break down. You see that? You see how helpful that can really be. Which also here, you know, if you look here, you can see how low that volume is, which also you pair it with above the 0 mark on the MACD, you can tell that it's going to have a bullish reversal there as well. But yeah, Tesla looks like it's a very strong close. Let's see. Is there anything else any of y'all wanted me to look at for you? Let's look at SBCE. And I hope a lot of y'all are in SBCE right now. I called it out, 2023 swing. So we got in at sub $20. Now it's 29 a share. If you just got, you know, a month expiration or something like that, you're probably making a lot of money off of that. So you can see how greatly these indicators help. As soon as we break above that VWAP, it has that support. Every candle is hitting that support and rejecting that VWAP and going upwards. Until we get here, it kind of runs out of steam, rejects that VWAP downward, double bottoms here. So we have that double bottom right here. And then as soon as it double bottoms, we have that upward trend. As soon as it breaks that downward trend, boom, underneath the VWAP. As soon as it breaks the VWAP, we're above the VWAP there. So a lot of useful things that you get out of charting. You know, not just physically with how the chart looks, but also mentally by giving you a lot more confidence in your position. Let me see here. So even here, you know, if you were to chart this wedge, you know, breaks above there, which is kind of hard to chart in the beginning right there. You have to really watch it. Breaks the support here. I mean, just that's all good textbook stuff right there, which isn't too complicated. It shouldn't be for y'all. So let's see. Is there anyone who's looking at a trade? I know a couple of people were looking at some stocks. Is there certain ones you want me to take a look at for you? NNDM. Okay, let's see. On NNDM, do you want me to look at, you know, maybe like tomorrow's outlook or kind of seeing what Friday did, or you want me to look at more of a long-term standpoint?
Just some long-term standpoint, and I just want to have a look. Like, what's your frame of mind when you chart these things? What do you look at basically for
So first thing I look at is I look at longest term, kind of see where it's been before, where it came from, 40s downward trend, and then we finally see this volume that kind of outweighs everything else. I don't want that big of candles. So then we'll move to 1 year, 1 day. So I don't know, you can see here, obviously we're seeing volume we haven't seen before, but you know, we're kind of overextended here. You know, when you get this high, you might be looking at a reversal, which, you know, like I said, this is seeing new highs, so it might just make new highs, which it already has. So let's see, let's zoom in here. I hate that.
Breakfast on the moment.
I have a question as well. I'd like to know what kind of indicators or a combination of indicators do you use to catch a solid reversal?
That's so all the indicators I use now, all do that.
The MACD, OI, and the RSI?
Yeah,
Community
that's all I'll use anymore. So you can see the reversal pretty much here. This is a good example in an NDM. You see we're kind of peaking here on this TTM squeeze, well above 100 here. So as soon as I see a red candle here, kind of like here, you see how it hits up white right here, which means it's up and going up. As soon as we see that red downward, boom, it drops and drops and drops. And then we see underneath still red, then it loads up green. So then we see that green trend, and then we see that upward movement all the way here. So it spots reversals, trends, I mean, anything you could possibly name. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I see it
Yeah,
now.
that's very helpful. So if you're looking at my screen right now, these are the 3 upward trends that I'm seeing here. So pretty much just connect all of these, so that one even goes out further. So your first indicator, which this is a very high upward trend, it's most likely going to break this. You know, reload that RSI, let it cool down some here. You know, hopefully maybe to like mid-range right here, cool down a little bit. Bring that indicator down some. Let's see. Which would bring us, you know, maybe to this support and then continuing upward. You kind of see how I made that out there. If we kind of break down a little bit here, and then it could bounce off that support. Even if it breaks this support, we have this final 3rd support here, which if it breaks that, I'd say definitely it's time to get out. Which that one's going out to, okay, so that's not that far out, so we'll be able to see. Yeah, so there's, you know, there's really no downward trend on here. This will also give you a resistance. So this is a rising wedge here. So if it breaks out up here, you know, we'll see, you know, possibly 10. Does that make sense to you? How we have that rising wedge, you connect the top of those 2 candles. You can even connect this one here, which is probably even stronger, which we even connect to this support line. So it could also have a breakout, you know, maybe it breaks down here, loads up, and then breaks out there as well.
Okay, I see.
All right.
See that? Yeah, of course. Which really, you know, you really don't want to overthink it. You just look at it, you know, use your brain, connect these supports and resistances, because it's just really as easy as that. Will give you a good outlook, which of course having these good indicators makes it a whole lot easier for you. I'll just leave that. Screw it. All right. Is there anything else that anyone wanted me to look at for him? You know, it doesn't just have to be a ticker, for example, or, you know, it could be looking at something long term, which I guess technically we just did. Which this is a good example. Do you all see this cup and handle here? Do y'all see that? how we have this cup forming through here.
Yep.
And then there's the start of the handle and then completely upwards there. So, we still have more room on the handle possibly, or it can ladle over and then reload that RSI and then come back up. Does that make sense? Do y'all see that cup and handle here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, even here, we have one shoulder. It's kind of ugly though. Head, another shoulder breaks down. So then we had that lower, and then it kind of forms a cup and handle there. So yeah, at first that was pretty bearish. Have that there, and then it breaks it at the bottom of that cup, or I guess I should say at the end of the cup. So that's pretty sweet. They removed that. So then it keeps on continuing upwards that way. So there's a couple of good examples there.
I'm also really interested in figuring out how you catch those 30% moves on the penny stocks.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, MVGS. Well, a lot of them right now, like a lot of the ones I've been calling out, has nothing to do with charting, which penny stocks, it's hard to even chart penny stocks just because they're so sporadic and, you never know what's going to happen with them, which is why I've kind of switched a little bit from them to more blue chips. So blue chips is perfect examples for stocks that are good for charting. But for penny stocks, it's mostly just, hype, sympathy, like MDGS that we caught. It just had a contract for, they were just getting into the EV market. So that's how we knew they were going to explode, which they did for a good little bit there. Not BLNK move or anything, but still a pretty good move. But yeah, that's pretty much all for penny stocks. But the same kind of charting, on the daily, if it breaks those supports and stuff. So let's do, which I always do, a 1 day 5 minute. Let's see. So now let me go back. Which now you can see how back and forth those candles are since it's lost some volume. So same kind of stuff, man. You see that breaks above, but kind of fakes you out, goes sideways. We have another downward trend here, breaks above, tries to break the VWAP, but doesn't quite do it. Here's a good example of it breaking above. We have that large green candle, which I told you that's a good bullish movement.
For only a couple hours.
Also there, breaks above.